Hi, 8th grade. Welcome to another English class, and we are starting the very last book, number 810. And we're going to go to lesson 1, and we're going to start with verbs. And the thing about verbs today is going to be active and passive verbs. So, which one should you use most of the time? Active. That's right. So we want to be active. We don't want to be passive. Passive has the thought of being lazy, laid back, and just kind of letting the world flow by. And active, getting involved, being engaged, and so on. Okay, so super easy. We're talking action verbs. If we have active and passive voice, we're simply talking they must be action. Now it can have a verb of being as a helping verb, but still going to be an action main verb. So here we go. Here is the difference real quickly. Active voice means the subject is the doer of the action. Passive voice, the subject is the receiver of the action. So in an active voice, you have subject, you often will have an action verb, and then a direct object. In a passive voice, you turn it around. You have the subject being what probably was the direct object up here, and then often you'll have something like a prepositional phrase with the word by and who the doer of the action is. Now, sometimes in a passive voice sentence, you don't know who the doer is, and that's okay. So let's take a look at it to help you be clear on it. So they give you a few examples. So right up there on the top, you have about Brandon. So Brandon repaired the fence. Now what's happening in the sentence? The verb repair. So somebody did it, something received it. So who or what did the repairing? What's the doer? Brandon. And who received it? The fence. So remember the rule? Active voice, if the subject is the doer, it's active. Brandon is the doer, he's the subject, active voice. So look down below that. So now we have the broken fence was repaired by Brandon. This time Brandon is still the doer of the action, but Brandon isn't the subject. This time the subject is the fence. Fence was repaired, and you have that prepositional phrase, by Brandon. Now notice also the verb of being, was repaired. So that's what you'll have in a passive voice sentence. You'll have that verb of being as a helping verb to make it passive voice. Now, caution, just because it has a verb of being doesn't always mean it's passive. I'll show you in just a little bit how that can be the case. Let's do some. So number 1, Michael introduced his cousin Kendrick to us boys. So verb, introduced. Who did it? Michael. Is Michael the subject? Yes. Which one? Active voice. You're right. Okay, now notice number 2. The meetings have been advertised throughout the area. Verb, have been advertised. Well, you got a real clue. You got verbs of being. So you see the subject, meetings. Did meetings do the advertising? No. Meetings can't advertise. So who did the advertising? Well, you don't know. This is a case where we don't know who the doer is. But what we do know, meetings receive the action. They're the one being advertised. So yes, passive voice. Subject is the receiver of the action. Passive voice. Now go down to number 6, and I'm going to show you what I just said earlier about verb of being that can be active voice. Number 6, Daryl and Donovan were playing catch most of the morning. So what's the verb? Were playing. Verb of being as a helping verb. But take a look. Who is doing this action of were playing? Daryl and Donovan. They're the subject of the sentence, right? Yes. So that is an active voice sentence, even though we're playing. So you don't go just by verb of being. You look very critically who did the action, and is that doer the subject? If so, active voice. If the subject is receiving the action, passive voice. Okay, so once again, active voice is better. In your writing, speaking, try to use active voice as much as possible. Let's look at how you can rewrite sentences to change them from one to the other. So if you have passive voice, I'm down at the bottom of page 1 now. Is that where you're looking? I hope so. The old library building was purchased by Davis Computer Services. Okay, so we have the building as the receiver of the action, and the doer is at the end of the sentence, David's Computer Service. So we want to make the doer be the subject. So we're going to change it around. Davis Computer Services purchased the old library building. And if you turn the page, you can see how you can change active to passive in very much the same way. And I don't know how to pronounce this man's name, but I think I have a book by him. I think he was a historian. Kenneth Scott, and that's French, I'm pretty sure, so what would that be? Latare? Anyway, wrote "Thee Sought a Country." So Kenneth Scott Latare is the doer of the action, and we're going to make "Thee Sought a Country," the name of his book, as the subject. So you just turn it around. "Thee sought a country," that's the name of the book. Notice added a being verb, was written by Kenneth Scott Latare. Now, note that you can't change the tense of the verb. So if it's written is past tense, keep it past tense. Present tense, keep it present tense. So Kenneth Scott Latare wrote past tense. Now, even though you changed the form because you've used a helping verb, you still are keeping it past. "Thee sought a country" was written, that's past, by Kenneth Scott Latare. All right, so let's rewrite. The gospel was carried to the Algonquin Indians of Massachusetts by John Eliot. So how are you going to turn that around? So John Eliot is the doer of the action. We're going to make that the subject. John Eliot carried the gospel to the Algonquin Indians of Massachusetts. Now, so for example, number 9, there would probably be more than one way you can write some of the details, the prepositional phrases, the adverb prepositional phrases. You can move those around a little bit, but the key is you need to get the subject to become, see, in the case of number 9, it's an active voice, and so you want to turn it to passive. So the receiver of the action needs to become the subject. Okay, 11, 12, and 13, you're going to put down, is it participial, gerund, or infinitive? Look at those carefully, one of each. Remember, participial is an adjective. Gerund ends in ing, but it's a noun. And infinitive, of course, the word to plus a verb. All right, just looking over the rest, I think you should be fine. So 22, 23, and 24, you're doing those indefinite pronouns, and I would challenge you again, please try to do those without looking, and hopefully you can get them all right. Okay, any questions? And you can't answer me, can you? But if you do have a question, send me a text or give me a call, and I will be happy to help you. So please do the spelling word exercises, even though I won't require you to actually do a spelling test. Some of you did, some of you didn't, and I think it was a little confusing, so I'm not going to require a spelling test, but do the exercises. And you also don't need to do the penmanship unless it's simply penmanship that you write in your book. You don't have to do any that you do on a separate piece of paper. Okay, thanks for your attention. We'll see you for the next class.